Hello and welcome to the 6th round of the Neucom Touring Car Championship here in the Nordrhein, just in the Bavaria region in Germany. Throughout this week, practice has been rained out across all 3 sessions due to torrential downpour. Luckily, the weather decided to let up a little bit before qualifying. Several drivers had to trek through the treacherous 2.3 kilometer circuit to set 2 lap times instead of just the regular 1, as normally seen in a Neucom Touring Car Championship. The first major news item is that Baxter Motorsports has filed for bankruptcy in light of the corruption per Richard Baxter. But luckily for Hudson Williams and Donovan Cage, they're still around us, as we'll mention here for the drivers lineup. Speaking of, let's go greet them. Taking her first career pole in the Neucom Touring Car Championship is rookie Kei Takahashi. Eugene DeMax will start in the outside front row. In row 2, we have Max Ganati, great qualifying effort for him, and points leader Yuki Tamura, teammates to Kei Takahashi. In row 3, we have Fabio Vitabasa and Mauro Souza Cardoso, a fantastic effort from him. Venner Hirose starts in 7th, followed by Rio Lucas. Scooter Gosser-Kulis had a solid qualifying session at the weekend. Hunter Veslowski and Jeffrey Finguy rounded to top 10. Finguy had a 5-grid penalty. Bud Fuchs and Scott Roush, the former being one of the hometown heroes. Vincenzo Focusato and Kiki Laukinen. Row 8 is Blake Warren and Donovan Cage, donning the beautiful number 38 machine for Corsa de Rosa. 17th and 18th is Kirk Vandenberg and Bosi Markijanovic. Rounding out row 10 will be Patrick Smith and Lou Lalona, a poor qualifying effort for Patrick Smith. Dylan Schwallenberg and Tatiana Rosales, another poor effort for her. We'll talk about her more in a bit because she got a 5-grid penalty also. Naomi Osakawa and Nathan Orman, a poor qualifying effort for Arturo Morales and Sean Angels in lineup 25th and 26th. 27th and 28th is Mitchell Carter and Hudson Williams, the other Corsa de Rosa further in the back. Yoshiko Sakamoto and Marco Costecca rounding up row 15. Row 16, Gauging Paling and Martin Vanderzijde. Vanderzijde having a pretty poor start to his year already. Barcio Hansen and Veronica Ryan, followed by Sebastian Van Dalen and Jude Harris. Van Dalen really hopes to have some solid results here soon. Vince Freeze going round up dead last. As Takahashi takes the green flag, this is going to be quite the pandemonium here, as the rain has made it extremely difficult to overtake, especially on the inside line. There's quite a lot of puddles there entering turn 1. It's a pretty solid start for Eugene DeMax on the outside, now towards the inside, entering turn number 1. Though I would suspect that DeMax won't get the advantage off of 1. No, he doesn't. If they are side by side off the hairpin now, there's a lot of pandemonium in the back, I would assume. And yes, there is, though no yellow flags just yet. Takahashi is going to be able to get away with the lead for the time being. Kanati holding it out in 3rd to Yuki Tamura, the championship leader right now. They're not separated by too much, I would say. So these are 2 drivers I would really watch out for here this afternoon. But Takahashi, off to a splendid start as she's going to try to pull away from car 23. Who, as I mentioned earlier, 2nd in the standings. Also, during the lap 1 shenanigans, it was Naomi Osakawa who made some contact with Dylan Schwallenberg, and that's going to lead her to pit road. And quite frankly, I have some similar sentiment there with Osakawa and the rest of the paddock. I don't know why we would be able to race here, but the show must go on, as they say, as Osakawa has to head back down pit road for some damage repairs. The same goes for Martin Vanderzijde, who also got into the back of what I would assume was Veronica Ryan a lap earlier, so he will be boxing this lap as well to get some damage repaired on his race car. So, by lap 4 now, it is Takahashi under pressure from Eugene DeMax. Max Ganati is having a very solid run himself. He hasn't quite lost touch with car number 23 in a slightly underpowered by comparison equipment there. Great job for the Australian to keep up with the top 2 so far. Kanati has not had a very good start so far. He's getting blown out of the water by Jeffrey Finguy, to be quite frank, the 2020 Drivers' Champion. But car number 6 is trying to chase after Vincenzo Focusato for Rookie of the Year. Of course, that is her biggest rival in the championship standings at the very moment. But Tamura might be looking at Hinani for 3rd, but we'll just have to see what becomes of that battle here in a bit, as they seem to string out just fine. DeMax, however, has the slipstream entering turn number 1. We'll have to see what becomes of that battle entering lap number 5. DeMax, as we're focused on him now, sends it on the outside. That's a preferred line entering turn 1, unlike in the past where it was the inside line, because you will have a better exit from the standing water in the inside line, especially on the exit of turn 1. We'll have to see what becomes of the S-curve here for DeMax. side by side still between both drivers. I'm not quite sure if he's going to be able to pull away with the lead. A bit of a compromise exit there. Here comes Kanati and Tamura. And I believe that's Rena Hirose sitting back there in 5th place as well. So Hirose already up 2 positions from the start of this race. Great start from the reigning driver champion, who's had an absolutely tumultuous start to the year. Save for probably the feature race in Great Britain here last weekend. Demax has gotten through on Kei Takahashi. Kanati looks to do the same on car number 6, but she's going to set it down the inside. And in turn 1, maybe try to shoot it down the inside of Demax, but obviously that wasn't going to work out in Takahashi's favor. A little bit ambitious there for the young rookie, and great pass there, Eugene. He's going to have to start running with it. He needs to lead the most laps if he's going to want to have any shot at Tamura's championship lead. Mr. Carter coming at the end of the previous lap for some damage and some troubles with the car. So his weekend has gone from bad to worse, as he had a very poor qualifying position going into this race. Track position really matters here at this racetrack, as it's very short and laps can really wind down really quickly. 54 laps will determine the feature race, as I failed to mention earlier. Demax running away with the race lead at the moment. Kanati after Kei Takahashi in second. Here comes Yuki Tamura splitting the middle between both drivers. Now I wonder if Tamura just has a faster car in general, but Takahashi throws the block. And uh-oh. Kei, I would listen to Nagase if I were you. Kei referring to Takahashi there. I'm not sure why she's not letting her teammate through. This is a team order, which are completely allowed in this series. Hirose was going to look at Kanani for the 4th position, but back to this battle for second here. Yeah, this is not good for Yuki Tamura at all, when she's losing a lot of time to the 23 and her championship rival, as I added earlier. Takahashi is still not getting out of the way. It seems that egos are starting to boil over within the Neucom Motors group, but it seems now that Tamura has gotten around Takahashi, but I don't quite know how much of her tire she's used just to get around car number 6. But Tamura leading the charge right now in the Drivers' Championship. Rena Hirose seems to be nowhere to be found in the points hunt insofar, although she has climbed up to the top 10 in points, so we'll just have to see what becomes of this weekend. The Norris Ring has been known to create a lot of attrition and a huge shock in the championship points, so we'll just have to see what becomes of this very wet weekend. As for right now, Tamura is going to pull away from her teammate as contact with Hirose and Vida Bassa. Vida Bassa ran into the back of the one, and I was a little worried about the damage on Hirose because she could not seem to catch a break in this series at all. But and Finn guy saw that just ahead of him. And yeah, I am not surprised that Ford Racing Australia is laughing it up over there in the pits. That's a lot of front-end damage to Fabio Vidabassa. He's going to have to come in the pit road to fix the... Oh, no. Complete disaster for Car 01. He was coming into this race 3rd in the championship. And this is what I mentioned earlier with the shakeup in points. This is but one of those examples. Fabio Vidabassa out of the race towards the end of lap 10. Sean Angel also having some damage to car 42. He needs to come in as well, so I don't suspect Angel is going to score any points today. He's going to lose a lot of time and a lot of laps on pit road just to get it repaired and sent back out on track. So no heroics from Angel in this feature race, I'm afraid. Martin Vanderzij doesn't seem to quite know what blue flags are, considering he drives a blue Mazda. Getting in the way of Demax, albeit briefly. Demax gets around 29 without much of an issue. What will the stewards say of that? Yeah, I thought so. Not entirely surprised. Hopefully Vanderzij will get out of the way enough for Tamura to perhaps do battle with the 23, but that remains to be seen at the moment. Eugene Max coming off of some decent performances so far that still led him to be the championship leader for a couple of races since Canada. But with Tamura's success in Great Britain, he's really hard-pressed to run away with this championship fight. This is why Demax needs to run with this race if he wants to take the lead back from her. That much, I'm sure. Meanwhile, further back in 20th place is car number 16 of Dylan Schwallenberg. Now, where have we seen this last time? Schwallenberg has come close to some top 20 results. He missed out on that in Spain a couple of races ago. His only points finish to date was in the United States, where he started on pole for the sprint race and finished second to Hunter Veslowski, where Schwallenberg was favored to win. It would have been a great run for the young American, who was previously rejected from Formula Beta. But we'll have to see what becomes of his performances now, as I almost jinxed him there. Bud Fuchs on pit road for problems of his own, so the young German is not having a good run himself either. It seems that the German crowd is going to leave very disappointed here this afternoon, because they were really rooting for Kirk Vandenberg and Bud Fuchs to perform really well today, especially Bud Fuchs, who qualified 12th. But of course, that end result will not remain the same here this afternoon. So Schwallenberg has been promoted to 19th. That leaves Nathan Norman back there for 20th. Jeffrey Finguy now, trying to do battle with his teammate, Max Kanani, who is currently getting held up by the damaged Naomi Osakawa. I don't quite know how much tolerance Finguy has for the lapped cars, especially if he's trying to pass his teammate. No Team Motors across the Ford Racing Australia garage. It seems to be a test for Max Kanani to try to run away with his top 5 result. I know it's early in the race, but oh, come on now, Naomi. This is a bit unnecessary, don't you think? And she's blocking Finguy entering turn 1. Okay, this is a bit excessive there. I'm surprised the stewards haven't said much anything about her getting out of the way. Now, I wonder what Finguy has anything to say. Yeah, that was an expected response out of him. Of course, Ford Racing Australia is trying to get onto the stewards about getting the 19 out of the way. Toyota Racing Development has had an absolutely tumultuous year insofar. They've scored very little points in this relatively top-heavy field. And Finguy, he's about to dump her. I'm not going to be too shocked if he ends up doing that. But Finguy, remaining as patient as possible with the 19, is he eventually going to get around her? And that's not a good place to pass, especially with that big puddle. That's going to compromise her race line off the final corner. Of course, Finguy is a lot faster on the straightaway. He should be able to clear the 19 entering turn 1, and no, he doesn't. Well, let's just hope he gets off a better traction off of turn 1 to get around the 19, and it looks like he does. Albeit, much to Finguy's frustration, I don't blame him for getting frustrated with the lapped cars anyway. Poor Finguy, he kind of just deserves better by this point. He had a major drop after last weekend over in Great Britain, as he finally dispatches a 19. Demax now getting held up by Vince Freeze, who has been very slow for most of this weekend. In fact, the stewards have kept a very close eye on the 41 after his antics with Lula Lamona in a feature race last weekend. Now, Demax held up by the 41. It's going to allow Tamura to reel in the gap for car number 2. Let's see what she makes of this battle for the lead. 2 points rivals. We don't know if there are going to be some heroics entering turn 1. And Demax getting really frustrated with Vince Freeze. Freeze finally gets out of the way, or at least I think he does. Kind of. Demax forces the issue on the 41 on the exit of the left-hand kink on the front straightaway now, as Tamura doesn't quite know where to go. She's going to slot behind Vince Freeze for now. Perhaps to get a better exit off of turn 1. Well, that didn't quite help. A bit of a lockup there from Tamura has led her to compromise a race exit, or line exit, off of turn 1, but nevertheless, the lap traffic has been a bit of a pain for the leaders across this weekend. Of course, in the case of Yuki Tamura, she needs that level of lap traffic to contend with Demax, because Demax overall has been faster than car number 2 at this moment. Demax trying to secure a lead lap bonus and the victory at the very least. Big contact there with Kiki Laukkanen and Marilla Sosa Cardoso, and that's big damage for car number 5. He's going to have to come down pit road. One of the 2 SRT drivers, the veteran, is getting completely blown out of the water by his teammate, Bosi Markey, who is just sitting right behind him. I'd like to remind you this is a battle for the top 15, if it's that. Problems for Rio Lucas as now he heads over the pit road for damage of his own. On the end of lap 19, tough break for the 03. He was sitting 5th in the standings coming into this race. In lap 21, now Demax is with a gaggle of lap scores, this time with what looks to be Marsha Johansson and Mitchell Carter. Mitchell Carter being damaged from the contact earlier and mechanical issue that resulted from this. And now Demax trying to move around the outside of Carter, but compromises his exit off of 3. That's going to allow Tamura to maybe go through for the race lead. Does she have the preferred line? Kind of hard to tell, because Carter doesn't really know where to go at the moment. Tamura gets away with the race lead, but is she going to clear him before the left-hand kink? I'm not quite sure. No, she doesn't. And that's going to compromise her exit speed down the front straightaway. Side by side now between the top 2. Into lap 22 now, it's going to be a very tight battle for the race lead. Demax backs out wisely. He knows that inside line is not ideal, especially if you're on a far inside line. Takahashi now having caught up with the top 2 along with Reno Hirose. And Hirose is definitely someone to watch out for today. That rear end damage doesn't really seem to be affecting her performances at all. Yeah, it's Reno Hirose. She's built different, as they say these days. Meanwhile, Tamura finally dispatching the lapped cars. For the time being, Demax is going to have to contend with them again, and now he's going to have to contend with Takahashi. Or maybe not, because Johansson got on the brakes a little too early for Takahashi's liking, so she's not going to contend with him for second. But now, Demax is through on Mitchell Carter quite cleanly, in fact. To try to chase down car number 2 to retake the race lead. Meanwhile, Rene Hirose looking to go 3 wide with Marsha Johansson. Entering turn 1, bit of contact there with Kanani and the 1. This might help Kanani retake the 4th position. Of course, Johansson having a difficult time getting out of the way of car number 1. I don't think she's going to be too happy with Johansson the way he's been racing her. Obviously, he's not racing for position with anyone right now. That's going to allow car number 6 to go back through for 3rd. And Hirose is probably going to lose that 4th position over to Max Kanani. She's going to try to go around the outside. And an early break there for Takahashi. I think she was trying to help Hirose by holding up the 77. Although that might have hurt her in hindsight because Kanani looks to go through for 4th on Hirose. But Hirose has a better exit. So it all worked out in the end as Takahashi, I guess, finally decided to become a team player instead of being a one-man show, or one-woman show, for that matter. As Hirose, heavy on the brakes, late on the brakes, entering turn 1, doesn't get preferred line. Several laps later, Demax back on the attack on Yuki Tamura, and look who it is. Look who it is. Yoshiko Sakamoto, one of the estranged former teammates to previous rookie Yuki Tamura. It was then brought up to the car to replace Sakamoto. She finally dispatches her. Probably wants nothing to do with the number 9 at the moment. Don't blame you. Demax also got through on Sakamoto. Gauging Paling, her teammate, is a little bit further ahead. I can only assume that this is a battle for position behind the 23, but it's obviously not for points. 1 lap later, Tamura trying to maintain the race lead, although she has a bit of a compromise entry. Oh, that actually worked out for her. As Tamura now tries to run with the race lead. Demax has a much better setup for the long run, it appears. So I'd be a little bit concerned about pit strategy if I were Yuki Tamura at the moment, because this championship fight, you really can't afford any mistakes here. So now, Tamura gonna hold out for the time being with the race lead. Here's this big group of cars. They're 4 leaders battling each other, with 3 lapped cars battling each other for position. It's a little bit murky in how the stewards are gonna settle this, that's for sure. As Kanani runs it through the middle on Renan Hirose for 4th place. And he goes through with relative ease. Max Kanani, brilliant effort from the Australian veteran. As I said before, he has not performed very well recently. Up till now, Kanani looks to try to catch up to his teammate Finguy in the championship standings, but Finguy not too far back, as the Max has been called to box in towards lap 30. As we now look towards the screen, yep, Demax is coming in. It looks like everyone else might join him, and yes, they are. Takahashi is going to join car number 23, as Yuki Tamura is going to stay out. Now I have to wonder what kind of heroics is Neucom trying to perform here with an overcut. They did it last time with in Great Britain, where Tamura had a substantially larger lead before the safety car. So this is going to be interesting, because Tamura right now needs to pit soon. If she wants fresher tires than Eugene DeMax, she's going to have to either pull some really fast laps on old tires, or hope for a miracle here. Hope for a safety car, perhaps. As she gets around the 44 of Hunter Veslowski, putting him 1 lap down. Veslowski has not had a very good run himself this weekend. And Tamura is not coming in. I wonder what's going on here. Oh. Tamura not quite agreeing with her race engineer there, of course being Kei Nagase, the former driver car number 2. Meanwhile, we had an incident on the pit road. Scott Roush contacts with Kurt Vandenberg, and that's major damage to both cars. Although I'm more worried about the 26 than I am the 98, because that was a solid hit to the driver's door for an unsafe exit. Although it looks like the 98 is a lot slower. And, oh man. Kirk Vandenberg out of the race on lap 32. And that's such a shame for car number 98, because he was looking to contend for points and perhaps steal the pole for the sprint race, or put himself in a very good position to win. Finally, by the end of lap 35, Yuki Tamura has come down pit road. Now you have to wonder if Tamura's going to be able to jump Eugene DeMax. So we're waiting a little bit to find car number 23 in the frame. Not quite them. Yep, there he is. Off the final corner. Is Tamura going to beat DeMax? Oh, not even close. And, oh, that was Kira Hirose on the last bit of the audio or radio chat there. Oh boy. Yeah, the pressure's on now for Yuki Tamura to try to close that gap on DeMax with the overcut strategy that she herself decided to employ instead of listen to Nagase. I wonder how well that team meeting is going to go, especially with the way Takahashi's been racing Tamura and with how strategy played out for Tamura. Be that as it may, Eugene DeMax is now a massive lead. He has an 8-point gap, or not 8-point, an 8-second gap, excuse me, to Tamura at the moment. Meanwhile, Max Kanani once again in battle with Renan Hirose, and the Neucom motors team decided to rip the back end off. Probably to reduce a little bit of weight there for Renan Hirose, just to gain a little bit more speed down the straight, and it looks like it's worked beautifully. Hirose gets through on Max Kanani for 4th place. So great heroics from the reigning driver's champion. Bud Fuchs, as we mentioned earlier, has had a pretty poor race. He is sitting in 27th place at the moment. I don't suspect that he would get a couple laps back, much less contend for a top 20, but Fuchs really has had a rough time so far this year with Volkswagen Motorsport, and quite frankly, I do feel sorry for him on that front. I believe that's DeMax now trying to dislodge him. Yeah, and yes, he is. And I believe that is Lula Lamona further ahead. And car number 36, she's not had a very good run herself either, as almost cutting off 23. I'd be careful if I were you. Thank you for letting him go. At the very least, she knows how to abide by black flags, unlike car number 29. Hirose, and oh, she's getting frustrated with Kanani. Although I would set my ego aside for a minute there, Renault, because you get to focus on that battle for position. This could be huge for points. if I were you. She's now lost the 4th position to Max Kanati. I wonder if they went on an alternate strategy. Although I suspect they haven't. Kanati makes a mistake, entering the penultimate corner, or exiting the penultimate corner, now onto the final kink. He's going to cut off Hirose. Oh boy. Yeah, keep your head cool there, Rena. We really don't want you making any unnecessary mistakes here. Meanwhile, Takahashi is in fact taking second back from Yuki Tamura, as this is going to spur another inter-team battle. Or drama, for this matter. For several laps now, Takahashi does not seem to let her faster teammate go at all. He's giving her an opportunity to go, but I'm not 100% certain if she's actually going to let her through. Tamura growing even more frustrated with Takahashi at the moment. This is only allowing Yuji Namax to spread his wings and fly away with the race lead. As Takahashi down the inside of Veronica Ryan to no avail, the 2012 Drivers' Champion, also having a very rough year herself. Anyways, Tamura now on the back end of the 18, seeing if she might be able to get by. No. Lap traffic, as I said before, is extremely frustrating to deal with, especially here in the rain. Schwalmberg within the top 20, as previously mentioned. He may be sitting on pole for the sprint race. It's a 33-lap event. I wouldn't put it past me if Schwalmberg tries to contend for a win here, provided he gets that top 20 result, because that is an ideal position to have in such a chaotic event. Anyways, Takahashi trying to pull away from Tamura. Now Tamura trying to send it down the inside of car number 6. She leaves the door wide open. But will Tamura force the issue onto the kink? No, it's Takahashi that forces the issue instead. And this is basically implosion over here with Neucom Motors. These two have been tripping over each other for second place, when car number 6 should really be looking at the bigger picture here. I understand that she's in battle with Vincenzo Focosato, who's not had a good race so far. He's not even in the points. But this is a little ridiculous. I bet Kyoto Hirose is losing his mind in the garage right now. Takahashi, that's a bit of a tone-deaf statement there, especially if you're the one that's been holding up Tamura. And especially holding up Nagase's strategy. I could follow up with that. Meanwhile, Max Kanani is in this battle for second now. So this battle, it really is holding up car number 2. Tamura obviously not too happy with the way things are going right now with her teammate. And I would suggest that neither is Kyoto Hirose at the moment. She needs to know her place. Wouldn't be the most inaccurate statement there by Yuki Tamura, but you have to remember she's a sophomore driver, the number 2 driver to Neucom Motors, and is currently the points leader. I wonder what kind of effect this will have on the championship if Takahashi doesn't let her go now. Well, currently Kanani is a bit preoccupied with Marco Costeca and maybe Martin van der Zijde. Oh, forgive me, I believe that was Schwalmberg, actually. My mistake. Be it as it may, Tamura now firing it around the outside of Takahashi. Let's hope this inter-team saga comes to an end here real soon, because I don't know if these two are going to wreck each other with the way they've been racing each other. They've kept it clean for the most part, but have employed some interesting strategies with the lap traffic to maintain position. Tamura finally gets through on car number 6, but she makes a mistake. Takahashi now might be able to take advantage of this opportunity for second, but obviously cooler heads are not prevailing at this very moment. Car number 6 is going to remain behind at 2 for now, as Tamura tries to negotiate with 37 of Hudson Williams. Hudson Williams having a pretty quiet day himself. He's within the top 20. So a very splendid run for him, despite having a very poor qualifying effort. A rate of attrition can really help someone's point state, that's for sure, especially in the debut of Corsa de Rosa. Be it as it may, Tamura using him as a pick to block off the 6th, and I think Tamura's just about fed up. Honestly, she's more than fed up with Takahashi at this point. I'm not too surprised that the team meeting after the race is going to be very long and very stressful for everyone, Rena Hirose included. Eugene DeMax trying to run with this race, and brakes are gone in car number 63, as he's going to have to enter pit road. Luckily, he's in a position to enter pit road to get those fixed. Let's hope he gets them repaired before he gets sent back out on track. Which is normally not something that happens too often. Arturo Morales has had a very miserable start to his year as well. He's ranked way lower than he should be right at the moment. Nathan Norman has blown the engine from 22nd place, and that's going to be a safety car. Car number 3 is going to DNF for the very first time this year. He is one of 2 drivers that have scored in every single event so far up till now. The other, of course, being points leader Yuki Tamura. And what is happening over here on this restart? DeMax, very slow on the restart as Vince Freeze jumps him. Freeze is obviously 2 laps down, if not 3 by this point. That certainly wasn't a wise move there from car 41. DeMax gets away with the lead as, oh my goodness, Roush almost putts the 41 off the course. He gets shoved out of the way by Naomi Osakawa, and it's just absolute pandemonium for very precious points heading to the end of this feature race. Lula Lamona and Veronica Ryan are both in points-paying positions at this time. Ryan trying to run down Schwallenberg to gain a few more points for herself. Of course, Mitchell Carter is out of it at this time. Tatiana Rosales, same goes for her. She's not done too hot so far this race, though I suspect she'll be okay come the sprint race because she's in a good position to perform well. And brakes are gone in car number 99. A pretty bad time for the brakes to go, especially in the front straightaway, entering turn number 1, but nevertheless, with a couple laps to go, it's going to be, oh, Paige Paley, what are you doing? Oh my god! A massive crash entering turn 1. That's 4 cars wiped out. Paling parked in the tire barrier. Yeah, what on earth was car 99 thinking? 2 laps to go, Paling loses the brakes, and instead of stopping the car, she does this. Absolutely unbelievable. From car 99. DeMax has won the race under the safety car, but I can't comprehend what level of stupidity that was by Genji Paling. Yeah, to the stewards immediately. Schwallenberg has managed to find himself in the top 20, and DeMax is going to get away with a feature race win, his 2nd feature win of the year. Tamura will come home in 2nd, 15 points lost to the number 23. Takahashi will round it with the podium. Rena Hirose held off Kanani for 4th. Finguy will finish right behind his teammate. Tatiana Rosales, a very splendid position for her. 7th place, a good points result for her. This is what she desperately needed. Hunter Vislavsky, Vincenzo Focasato, Patrick Smith will round out your top 10. Cardoso, decent points for him as well in 11th. Blake Warren coming back all the way from the low midfield. Mark Yanovich, Lucas, Roush, Williams, a quiet day for him. Kosteka, Kiki Laukinen, who had damage repairs earlier. Mitchell Carter in 19th, he'll be on the outside front row. And Dylan Schwallenberg getting that last singular point for the sprint race pole position. Schwallenberg is going to have to make this one count. That's for sure. Let's head down to the starting grid for the sprint. Let's see what becomes of this one. Schwallenberg takes the green flag. It's a half-decent start for car number 16. Mitchell Carter seems to have had a better start than the 16 at the moment. It is absolute pandemonium as the people try to land rush it into turn number 1. This is going to be a panel beat alert here for them. Someone's sending a 3-wide. That's Kosteka. Schwallenberg is clear of the 3-wide situation. He's going to be able to run with the lead for now. It's a rather long sprint race. 33 laps isn't a whole lot, but About half an hour of racing is what Schwallenberg needs here in the wet. Schwallenberg doesn't have too much experience in the wet. He's only ran in the wet in open wheelers about 3 times in Formula Beta. But Schwallenberg trying to run with this at the moment. His car is not on par as, say, the SRT or GM Team USA for that matter. For second now, Kiki Laukkanen over Mitchell Carter, perhaps on the last corner toward the end of the first lap. Laukkanen gets by with ease. Laukkanen, the more experienced rally driver. Of course, his wet racing experience could really help him here. As Marco Kostecka for third on Mitchell Carter. And that is Rio Lucas. So a bit of contact there with Williams on Rio Lucas. But for the time being, it's going to be Kostecka with the final podium position. This would be a splendid day for Rebel Racing BMW if they're able to pull this off, though I very much doubt so, given the nature of this race. Into lap 3 now. Contact with car number 92. This is a disaster for car number 2 of Yuki Tamura. The points leader now has damage. I don't know if they're... Oh, my... I hate it here. Yeah, ditto on that one there. Yuki Tamura, who had to deal with the dramatics with her teammate Kei Takahashi, is now going to be out of contention for points. This is the absolute last thing she needed going into the sprint race, because this is going to allow her points rival to Max to really capitalize on this opportunity to retake the points lead, provided she gets a good result. But poor Yuki Tamura, all she needed was a break, and I feel like now she's going to be the next one to not score points here today. That's going to be a streak broken for car number 2. You really have to feel for her, as now she's going to come to pit road. A few laps later, Laukkanen now is on Dylan Schwallenberg for the race lead. Rookie versus the more experienced rally driver. Schwallenberg makes a big mistake. He runs wide on the penultimate corner. That's going to allow car number 5 to try to pull through. He runs into the puddle. Schwallenberg is going to swing right by the 5 to hold him off for the race lead for now, but that performance difference is really starting to hinder Schwallenberg's ability to hold the race lead. Of course, the experience factor comes very much into play as well. Kostecka maybe hoping to nab second from Laukkanen to try to close in on his teammate for the race lead. Russo Austrian having a very quiet year himself. Of course, blowing Schwallenberg out of the water in the points as we speak. Naomi Yasukawa goes around. This is another incident for car number 19 as she gets into the back of Fabio Vitabasa. And, I don't want to know who's in the wall there. Is that car 99? I can only imagine it is. Yup. Honestly, not terribly surprised about this one, and that's a safety car for sure, as Paling knocks it into the tire barriers once again. Yeah, I think that just goes to show how tumultuous of a weekend Paling has. I bet she would want to forget this. Schwallenberg takes the lead on the restart, heading into lap number 9. Now, it's going to be a very difficult time holding on the 5. He's got the preferred line entering turn 1. Let's see if he's going to try to maintain a race lead. A better exit for Laukkanen. That might seal a deal here for Dylan Schwallenberg. And yes, it does. Laukkanen to the race lead, as Schwallenberg now has to hold off literally everybody else behind him, as he's really losing composure from that restart. And he might actually lose second to teammate Kostecka there. Patrick Smith just waiting to pounce on this opportunity to catch up to the 5 and perhaps take another sprint race win. His last one, of course, being from the round of Spain. Schwallenberg, however, doing a good job holding off Kostecka, and that's going to cost him an opportunity to get after him, because now he has to negotiate with Patrick Smith and the Team Nismo. One of the top teams in the series for right now. And of course, I believe that is Lucas back there. Yes, it is. Up in 5th place. And he's gone around Patrick Smith with relative ease. Watch out. Ooh, very late braking there by the Englander, who was running under the Italian flag. As Lucas gets around Kostecka with relative ease. And now Schwallenberg's got a Ferrari in his mirrors. I'd be sweating bullets too if he wasn't already soaking wet inside the car. As Focusato, problems for car number 02. Of course, the 4th in the driver's standings as it stands. Focusato, obviously not going to have a good points day this weekend. Overall, Lucas, contact with the 62, is going to shove him out of the way. And Lucas, I think, just got through on Kosteka. That is an unconventionally dirty move there by Rio Lucas, though. He is striving for Scuderia Grosso Culo. That is kind of par for the course. But nevertheless, car number 16 really needs to capitalize on his points opportunity if he wants to catch up to the top 20 in standings, and more importantly, beat his teammate. Because there's a lot on the line for this young man's future, that's for sure. As damage for car 03, yeah, I kind of saw that one coming. Lucas kind of desperate to not want to pit here, but he's got no choice. Rio Lucas out of the points-paying contention as well. This has been a completely disastrous weekend across the board for Scuderia Grosso Culo. Especially in the case of Vita Bossa, who's looking to have a solid points day himself. Lucas, however, is going to come back on track here eventually. Here we are, eyes on Yuki Tamura right now, having a pretty tumultuous race as she gets sent by Vince Freeze in the 41, and I have no idea what that was, because they weren't even battling for position at all. Oh, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. No, absolutely no hesitation now that the steward's there. Wow. Anyway, as we look at a replay of this battle for what is, I believe, is 3rd place. Yes, it is. Patrick Smith, Rena Hirose. She started back in, what was it, 17th place, if I recall correctly. Is now running for a top 5 position. Patrick Smith has gone through on Kostecas and now going to try to chase down Schwallenberg for 2nd. But I would keep a very close eye on Rena Hirose, because Hirose has looked very fast throughout the sprint. She's picked up a lot of track position from the start of the race. Next lap later, Hirose on to 62 for the 4th position, and she's going to have the preferred line entering turn 1, but will she have the better exit? Chances are, yes, she will. Hirose up to 4th now. She's going to chase down Patrick Smith and Dylan Schwallenberg for 3rd and 2nd. I wouldn't put it past me if Hirose becomes a threat for the win, because she's been setting blisteringly fast laps for the last 13 to 14 laps. And yeah, hell of a drive there for car number 1. I have a feeling that we're not going to be done watching her just yet. Hirose really on, wow, 56.3. Not only did she just steal the fastest lap in the 5, but now she's on Schwallenberg for 3rd place. But not a good exit there for Hirose. She's going to have to come out from in the S-curve. Rena Hirose trying to come back from a massive points deficit in the Drivers' Championship in her title defense, when all seemed to look pretty glum for her. Teammate Yuki Tamura had a disastrous day, and that's going to allow Hirose to take advantage of this opportunity here in the sprint race. She's through with Schwallenberg on 3rd, and is now going to try to chase after Patrick Smith for the 2nd position. Now, Rena Hirose is doing everything she can to secure her 1st win of the year, because she's been winless since the end of last year, when she was, I believe, runner-up to teammate Yuki Tamura in the United States, and Eugene Max in the feature in Canada when they had their incident on track. But a splendid run there for Rena Hirose, 17th to 3rd in a matter of 20 laps. Tatiana Rosales holding out in the top 10, I believe, to holding off teammate Eugene DeMax. I wonder if she's going to let him through, because this is a very important championship fight that DeMax has to commit to right now. Of course, Rosales has been on the hot seat by Team Nismo. If she does not perform at their expectations this weekend, she could potentially lose her seat come the round of Sweden. Will she be traded, or will she be tossed over to the Eurasia Pacific Championship to defend her title over there? Although she's going to be very late to that title fight over there, that much I'll say. As Rosales really testing her limits to hold off the well-experienced Eugene DeMax for what is, I believe, 10th place. Hirose through on Patrick Smith for 2nd. And now she's going to try to open her legs up a little bit to try to catch up to car number 5. She's not that far back. She's only about 3.5 seconds. Okay, I can understand why Hirose told Nagase to quit talking. Because that level of focus in the wet is unforeseen at the moment. And yeah, I'd protest that too if I were Patrick Smith, but I don't suspect that's anything under the hood. That's just Hirose's heroic driving ability. Again, she's built different. What can I say about car number 1? Hirose now going to try to chase down Kiki Laukkanen for the race lead. Laukkanen's got to be sweating bullets after he's been informed that Hirose is through for second, and is much faster than him at the very moment as he's getting held up by Martin van der Zijde. Where have we seen this before? Van der Zijde doesn't have damage this time around, although he is being quite the nuisance to car number 5. I wonder if that's going to result in a penalty post-race for Martin van der Zijde, though he hasn't really caused much shenanigans across the season so far, save for today. Van der Zijde eventually lets the 5 go to go 1 lap down. Of course, this is on purely pace alone, so Van der Zijde has had a pretty miserable weekend himself in the Hirachi Racing Technologies. Overall, Hirachi Racing Technologies has had a dismal year as far as points battles are concerned. That's kind of what happens when you're a pretty top-heavy grid. It's very difficult to gain points where it matters most. Laukkanen in car number 5 is going to try to look for his first sprint race win of the season. Laukkanen has only won 1 in the last 2 years, but we'll just have to see what makes of that battle for the lead that may prove here soon. Here's this long line of cars for fourth. Stromberg. Oh my god, Kostecka just shoved Blake Warren out of the way into turn 1. No damage to the 62, but it looks like it's going to work out for Warren, as Warren gets around teammate Mitchell Carter for 5th place. So a blessing in disguise, and a great reaction there from Warren to take advantage of the lemons that he was just given by the 62. As Schwalmberg now sweating bullets with a red and white car number 8, hounding him down for 4th. Schwalmberg doing everything he can to make the most of his points day, or much less his points weekend, because he has not looked very good at all in the first third of the year, as we now get to the 2/5 of the way across this season. Schwalmberg got to do a lot of heroics to maintain a top 5 result, if he is going to be able to do that, much like he did in the United States at Road America. So we'll have to see what becomes of that battle a little bit later. A bit of a jam up there. I don't suspect anyone has damage from that contact back there, thankfully. Jeffrey Finguy currently doing battle with Eugene DeMax and teammate Max Canati. I believe Finguy might have a little bit of rear end damage, but he doesn't really seem to care too much about that. As DeMax with the heroics down the middle, or through the middle, DeMax is going to go through on both of them. So the heroics from Eugene DeMax could potentially earn him the championship lead in car number 23. And Finguy, of course, stuck behind his teammate again. I wonder if Kanani seems to be the better rain racer here, despite Finguy's long-term experience in a Neucom Touring Car Championship, although that will remain to be seen. Battle for 4th now with Dylan Schwalmberg and Blake Warren. Warren, the much more experienced driver who had a sabbatical in 2018 through 2019 due to a leg injury in the offseason, is going to get by Dylan Schwalmberg, the rookie, for 4th. Schwalmberg is going to fall to 5th, provided he doesn't fight back. Is he going to fight car number 8 back for position? I don't think so. Although a compromise exit for Blake Warren is going to give Schwalmberg a chance to retake the 4th position, though you'd be really hard-pressed to hold onto that position for as long as you can. And now, teammate Mr. Carter to Blake Warren tries to get through as well, but it looks like Warren is going to have the preferred exit off the final corner. And yes, he does. Warren the 4th, Schwalmberg down to 5th, and probably down to 6th to Mitchell Carter if Carter is going to send it up the outside. Entering turn 1, and I see Eugene DeMax back there as well. So DeMax is having a pretty heroic sprint race himself, starting all the way from 20th. He's now within the top 10. As he's going to go through the middle again on Mitchell Carter and Marco Kostecka. I can't tell whose driving is a lot more impressive here, either Rena Hirose or Eugene DeMax at the moment. because the mag just got through the middle again. This time in a different sector of the track, being off turn 1. Not a very preferred line to take the position for, but impressive run nevertheless. Battle for the lead now between Kiki Laukkanen and Reina Hirose. And this might be the battle for the ages. Patrick Smith sitting back there in third, waiting to pounce on any opportunity those two get together. Hirose, known for being a very clean racer on track, also, but can be very aggressive when she wants to be. Get the elbows out might be a necessity for the defending driver's champion, but we'll just have to see what makes of this battle, as Laukkanen really beginning to crack under the pressure of Hirose. He has a lot of experience in the rally, but the equipment and experience difference here in the Neucom Touring Car Championship could make all the difference here between victory lane and second place. But Reina Hirose pounding the number 5 at this time as we are winding down to the late stages of this race. Hirose is going to try to set him up into turn 1. Is she going to send up the outside? Very late up the outside in turn 1 as she gets very late on the brakes. She may have the preferred exit off of turn 1. Is she going to get the preferred exit? Oh, it might be even between the two. And I take that back. Hirose to the race lead from 17th. Reina Hirose, with the heroics that she's had through the year, P1 was all she wanted. It was a very promising start at the beginning of the year, but then she got caught up in accidents, most of which were really not her own doing. In fact, none of them were her own doing. And now she's going to have an opportunity to gain some massive points here this weekend. Hirose holding a gap now, and Kiki Laukkanen going to try to run away with this race. She is in no way going to be able to secure the lead lap bonus, but she'll definitely make the most of it with the fastest lap because nobody else has contended for that so far this afternoon against car number 1. Yushin DeMax now in the top 5. He's now running in, I believe, the 4th position. No, he's running in 5th right now. So from 20th to 5th is also just as heroic as Reina Hirose for car 23. I can definitely guarantee you that he may leave this race weekend with a championship lead based on how he's running right now. Arturo Morales had some damage. He is 1 lap down. He is not in contention with any of these guys for points, much less anything else right now. Again, a very tumultuous year for car number 63. We don't know what will become of his seat, much less Kirk Vandenberg, who's had a long tenure with Patronas Mercedes. But here's a bit of a surprise. Sean Angel has entered the battle for the top 15 with Scott Roush. Angel did not score points in the feature, but it's come to my surprise that Angel has worked his way through the grid once again to find himself in point-standing position. Normally, you would see him being a master of the sprint, making the most of his grid position, securing maybe a top 4, a top 5, oftentimes a podium as well. If I recall correctly in Spain, Angel accomplished just that. He was very close to winning the sprint race in Spain, but Patrick Smith and the equipment difference was too much for Angel to handle. So, great run for car number 42. Angel trying to secure some more points there for Midnight United Racing. And other drivers who have snuck into point-standing position, there is Hudson Williams again with a quiet run in the points. Right now, he's within the top 10. So a splendid run and debut for Corsa de Rosa. They've acquired the old equipment from Scuderia Grossoculo when the Ferrari was available to them. And they're definitely making the most of this opportunity, despite their hatred for Fabio Vitabazza and Grossoculo. Of course, the Italian GT racing team has found themselves in a good position here in the Neucom Touring Car Championship. Hopefully, they'll score a lot of points to offset a potential disadvantage in the off-season. We'll just have to see what becomes of that. Canati now in battle with Hudson Williams for position. Is he going to falter? Perhaps. Yes, he does. Nevertheless, it's a very good points day for Corsa de Rosa, especially on their points debut in the rain. They certainly picked a hell of a weekend to do it, but they're certainly making the most of this opportunity so far. Donovan Cage has otherwise been nowhere to be seen. He had a good qualifying effort in the top 20, and Vincenzo Focusata was in trouble. Oh, boy. Vinny. The sprint race winner from Great Britain is not going to have anything nice today. And oh, that's a right rear. That's why he almost lost it off the exit of turn 1. As, where is he going? Vinny! Oh my god! Almost runs into Renan Hirose. Of course, he's having a hard time keeping control of that car. But that's a shame for Vincenzo Focusata, because this weekend was anything but good for him. Especially within the top 5 in points. Bosi Markjanovic with the heroics with Scott Roush. I think they're both within the top 15, or battling for a top 15 spot in the points. Or not just the points, but point state for this afternoon as well. Markjanovic, typically with his heroics in Great Britain, he finished within the top 5, and great heroics from him. That might see him being swapped over to Team Nismo, replacing Tatiana Rosales. So we'll have to see what becomes of that deal here soon. Team Nismo considers him coming into the round of Sweden. Although we're not quite sure what's going to become of that deal, but we'll see as we get closer to that weekend. Be that as it may, Renan Hirose has had a fantastic weekend in car number 1. He's trying to get through on Vince Freeze and I believe that's Sakamoto. Yes, it is. Sakamoto, of course, having wrecked Hirose out of a great points day in, I believe, the sprint race in the round of Mexico. That left most of Neucom extremely upset with Sakamoto, and it was no wonder they sacked her last year, and at least in the middle of last year, to my recollection, for her blatant incompetence on track. Anyways, as now Sakamoto does battle with Vince Freeze, who's already been called to the stewards for his deal with Yuki Tamura. Coming down to 2 to go, I believe, for Renan Hirose. Words cannot describe how tough of a start to the year she's had. Hirose looked really good in most of the practice sessions and some of the qualifying sessions, but could just never really pull together a good result. And because of accidents on track that she's had with other drivers, 90% of which were really not her own doing. So now she closes up on Morelos Sousa Cardoso, who's not had a good afternoon himself. He is well outside the points, and he has some damage on car number 48. But nevertheless, what's there more to say about Renan Hirose? She's trying the best she can to defend her driver's championship. And she's had such great odds in the championship standing. She's, I believe, like 130 points back in 12th place. Something absolutely obscene that we didn't think would be attainable for Hirose to come back with. White flag now for car number 1. Renan Hirose needs to set another solid lap time to win this sprint race. She is long gone past Patrick Smith, who has dispatched Kiki Laukkanen for the second position. Laukkanen is most likely going to finish on the podium from the looks of it now. But now, car number 1, looking to probably get through Nathan Orban, who's had a miserable weekend as well. It's going to be a double no points day for him. He's had some damage with some attrition on track also. And, wow, I'm not terribly surprised by that one there. I wonder if there was an incident with Paling, though I think it's related to the feature race. I'm more surprised that they're allowing her to race the sprint, but honestly, I'll leave it up to the steward's interpretation on how to deal with her. Renan Hirose rounding off the final quarter to get her first sprint race win of the year, and it's a massive points weekend for the reigning drivers' champion. Patrick Smith will come home in second. Laukkanen will tie him with the points for the lead lap bonus. Blake Warren comes home in 4th, a good performance for car number 8. Eugene Max, a great top 5 result that's going to help him in the championship fight. Dylan Strollenberg comes home in 6th. It's a pretty respectable points day for him. Mitchell Carter, Jeffrey Finguy, Marco Kosteka, and Kei Takahashi will round out your top 10. Tatiana Rosales will come home in 11th. It's an alright points day for car number 35, although I will have to see what becomes of that meeting post-race. Oh, Paling excluded from the points, although she didn't score any points to start with, so I'm going to have to wonder what they'll do post-race. Max Canati, Hudson Williams, Sean Angel, and Scott Roush round out your top 15. Some more points doesn't hurt either driver. that being Angel and Roush in their respective point standings. That much I'll say. Now, as we check the Drivers' Championship at this time, it's going to be Eugene DeMax taking the points lead over Yuki Tamura by 15 points. Rena Hirose comes from 12th to 3rd. That is how much attrition was filled throughout this race weekend. She's still a long ways back from the championship fight, though I would not count her out just yet. Vincenzo Focusata holds station in 4th. Patrick Smith, Kei Takahashi, and Fabio Fittipaldi have been mixed around in their respective championship standings. Very close to each other, nevertheless. Blake Warren, Hunter Fislowski, and Rio Lucas, the both of them are tied for 9th at this moment. Jeffrey Finguy comes back up to 11. He's gained 1 position from the last weekend. Solid points for him throughout the weekend also. Mitchell Carter, Nathan Orman, miserable weekend is going to see him plummet down the order. Bosi Markijanovic, 2 points back from the GM Team USA driver. Tatiana Rosales, much further back to Markijanovic. Kirk Vandenberg and Arturo Morales still tied for 16th with no points to their name this weekend. Kiki Laukinen with a solid points performance sees him in 18th. Sean Angel finds himself 19th. And the last driver with triple-digit points in 20th is Scott Roush. Car number 26 really needed that win to turn a lot of heads in the paddock. And he certainly has across not only the round of Spain, but also through this weekend as well. The next round of the Neucom Touring Car Championship will take place in the round of Sweden. Until next time, we'll see you later.